Hello, welcome. Pauline again from PQW with the Exquisite Quilt series. We're up to episode 7. And this is going to be basically the last lesson in the drawing process of the drawing of the quilting designs. There will be 3 or 4 blocks that I'm not going to show you what I've drawn for them, because as always, you can work out your measurements and think everything's going right, but if something goes wrong with one of our measurements or we do a miscalculation or something, I've left a few blocks unquilted. So once we start joining the quilt together, if I need to make adjustments in those blocks, I can to make everything fit together. It should all work perfectly, but you never know, things can happen. And this is just a thing that I want to advise you on, that don't go out there and get everything done at once when you're doing a quilt-as-you-go quilt, because you may have to make adjustments as you work through. But we're going to work on using our templates to create beautiful designs. We're going to use set F of our template series. Now in this set you're going to get 3 templates. You're going to get the beautiful tulip, then also you're going to get the tulip bud, which has also got a leaf on it, and then we've got 2 other leaf designs here. So I'm just going to show you how you can create different designs from this set of templates. So I'll put them out so you can have a close look at them. As we said, we've got the tulip. Now you can see that we've got reference lines running all the way through the template. We've got them coming diagonally both ways. We've got them straight through the centre. So those lines are there to help you centre your position, your design wherever you need it to be centred. So we'll use those reference lines quite a bit as we start to draw. Then we've got the little tulip bud, which I think is so cute, and a smaller leaf. Now with these templates, as we work through the program, we're going to show you how to use these to actually do some applique with these shapes. We're going to use them for applique as well as quilting, and that's where they're so brilliant, that you can use them for different aspects of technique. We've got the 2 leaves. So let's get started. The first one we're going to use, we're going to design up block E5. Okay, it's a 5 by 11 cut measurement. What I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to, and you can see I've got my lines, my 1/2 inch border around there to allow for trim up and adjustments as we go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a 1 inch grid on here to start with. I'm going to use my little ruler, and you can go right to the outside edge and you can start anywhere. If you don't want a diagonal grid, do it as a straight line grid, but I want a diagonal. So just move it and draw up your 1 inch. So you may not even want to draw this on paper first. You might want to go straight to your fabric sandwich where you've got it all sandwiched up. We'll just turn this around. We'll come back the other way. Now this will look a bit odd when I've finished, but when we do the quilting, I'll show you where we'll be starting and stopping. So the only part of this block that we're going to quilt is this grid. We're going to use the tulip to do some applique on this block, the tulip bud. So you'll just need to quilt this block up and then do nothing else till we get to the applique episode. But if you have it quilted up, makes it easy when you quilt first and then you do the applique later. So now I'm going to come across on the diagonal this way. So you can see how you could just draw this straight up onto your sandwich. And just quilt this one. But when we quilt the method that we're going to use, we won't be using a walking foot, because we've used that beautiful Hobbs double-sided fusible batting. We don't need to use a walking foot, which makes it so easy. So we'll just do this line a bit darker so you can see. So that's all you're going to have to do with this block, is just mark up that grid. And then wait for the episode where we're going to be showing you how to use this little bud and the leaf. We're going to make some bias stems and we're going to applique over the top of the quilting, just for something different, because in this series we're trying to give you as many different techniques as possible so that you can use them in future projects that you may want to do. So that's where we've got that one done. So now we're going to move on to block E6. And we're going to use the leaf template and we're just going to do some leaves. And as we get into the quilting process, I'm going to teach you how to do these curves without free motion quilting. Very, very simple. Won't be hard at all. So E6, we've got our paper drawn up. We've got our 1/2 inch border around. We're going to use the different size templates. Now you can do this however you want. I'm just going to do random. I'm just looking at what template I used. I used this little one. So we can just do random drawings here. Just put your pencil. If you were marking this on your fabric, you'd be using the Bohin fabric marking pencil. If you're marking dark fabrics like this navy here, you would use the white lead in the pencil. If you're using the white fabric like I am, or a lighter fabric, you'll use the grey lead. Now you're going to put the lead out long enough so that it will fit through the split in the template. You may try to use a different marking pencil and you may find that they won't fit through the split. We've purposely made the split nice and narrow so the design stays consistently even. And you'll understand that when I draw some of the other designs at the moment. Now, to avoid breaking your lead, because it is a very fine lead, we don't want to hold the pencil to the side like we'd normally write. We want to hold it upright. Upright and draw towards yourself all the time. Right, always towards yourself. Never go forward and then backwards, because what you tend to do is lean the pencil a bit, and as soon as you lean it, you'll hit the side of that template and you will snap the lead. And you'll waste your leads that way, and we don't want you to do that. So we'll draw another leaf here, upright, towards yourself, towards yourself. If you feel more comfortable going away from yourself, always keep it going the same way, because that way you're going to keep your pencil upright. You might want to do another one. We're going to rotate the template around. Now I'm drawing a totally different design to what I did on the sample that I showed you, but just to show you all the different ways that we can do this. So put as many leaves on here as you like. So I've just got the 4 there. I might find that I want to come back and put another one in down here to fill in a bit of space. Odd numbers are always good. So we'll quilt those, but as we're quilting, we're going to come out and we'll do some loops to join them together so we can continue stitching. Oops, we'll do another loop. And we'll do all sorts of things when we get to this one. So I did mark that out with this pen, but I hope you can see that. But let's just go over it with the dark now so that you can just see this a bit clearer, because this is a nice fine permanent marker, so it fits through there, but anything thicker wouldn't fit. So you can see how I've drawn that on there. So draw up a block like this, just experimenting with the leaves, and because you can do some nice work there. Now on this one, a little tip, I've drawn quite dark with the grey lead. I'm going to find this difficult to wash out. I use this pencil. So when I wash this, when I wash the quilt when it's finished, I'll have to rub some soap on that and I'll have to scrub it. So don't do that. Press just light enough so you can see it, so that when you stitch over it, you're not going to see the line. It will break out, wash out very nicely for you. So that's that block, E6. Then we go on to block E2, which is another leaf. So once again, to do this one, I won't draw this one out for you because you get the idea of it. I've used the larger leaf, put this down the way I've, around this way. I've drawn that way, then I've flipped the template over and come back the other way. Then I've just used a section. I've just used, what did I use? I used this section here. I didn't use the whole leaf. I just used part of the leaf to fill in this bit here. But see what you can create. Doesn't have to be like mine. So that was on block E2. Now we're going to block C1. Or, as I've kept saying in all the episodes, you can do it on any block that you like. So this is where we're going to use the full tulip, the leaves, but you notice that I haven't filled in anything here. What we're going to do here is we're going to make some bias that's going to run through here, and some nice fine bias, and that bias is going to run right through the quilt to give the quilt a little bit of movement. So once again, if you want to experiment on paper, grab your template, put this, if you want it straight, you could find the centre of your block, which we know that it's going to be 8 by 10 from line to line. So we can come across, and we're going to put the 5-inch line here, okay, the 8-inch line here, and we mark the centre. So you can mark the centre and put a line through the centre if you wish to get the reference there. Then you could line this centre diagonal line here running through the centre, and this one here. And you can move the template to wherever you want it positioned. So I'm just keeping this line here straight, and that will keep my design position where I want it. So once again, pencil upright, draw towards yourself or away from yourself always, holding the pencil upright. I don't want you to break your lead. But I'll pick up the darker one so you can see the design now. They're very quick to draw up. And having your 3 layers together, your top fabric, your wadding or your batting and your backing fabric all ironed up, as you trace your design on, you'll notice that your fabric won't stretch. If I was using any other batting, I could expect a lot of stretching to happen, which I wouldn't like. So there's my tulip drawn up. Now you'll see the little lines here. That's going to be a continuous line. Those gaps need to be in the template to keep the template together. So you can come around and you can fill in your little spaces so that you know where you're going to be stitching. But once you get your eye in, you won't need to do that. Just join everything up so that all becomes a continuous line. So then you can just come back and choose whichever leaf you want. I'm probably going to put a leaf out here on a bit of an angle and just draw. Then I might flip it over and come back the other way. I might come in here. So you can see how you can get creative. So once we stitch this, or you might prefer to applique once I show you how to do that, we're going to put the bias in. It'll run through and connect into another block. And you're going to have fun. Oops, that's a bit too fat. So we won't worry about that. We'll get rid of that. But that's how that's going to look when we get it together. So that is on block C1. Now we'll get really creative. We're going to work with block C3. Now I've already got this drawn up. I haven't quilted it, but I just wanted you to see what I've done here. Now that design has come from, where's my template gone? It has come from this part only of the template. Nothing else, just that shape in the middle there. So what I've done is I come and I find the centre again, which is going to be your 5 by 8. So find the centre and draw your lines. So you can, oops, didn't draw. So you can get it all proportioned beautifully. Then we're just going to start, and we're going to use those reference lines again. That's why they're on there, so that it keeps everything aligned for you. So we're just, oops, I want to be at the centre point. Sorry, I was too far off. So I want this part of the shape to be right on that centre point. Down through the middle. Draw. Then we're just going to rotate it around, lining up your centre line again. I'm lining the centre line up this way this time. Now this pencil might put me a little bit off because it's a little bit thicker than what the grey lead would be in the pencil that we use. Come around, lining everything up again. And we just keep drawing. Around again. So you can see that it's very simple. It's just looking at the template to see what different designs you can create from the different sections that are on the template. So see that? Now, if you didn't want to go any further, when we quilt this, once we quilt this centre, we could just then go and echo this all the way out by moving our needle position over. But if you wanted to go further, what I've done is I just keep adding these sections in. So I'm lining up once again. I'm going to line, to get this even, I'm lining this diagonal line that runs through here, right through that centre point. And this is going to position this section even for me. So don't forget to use those as your reference. Let it come right through that centre point. So there you go. So just keep building on it, as I've said. Hopefully you can see on this rough drawing that I've done, these is where I'm up to at the moment. Then I've just come through and I've put some smaller sections in, and that's how you can build up a design to fill out a whole block just from one little section. Remember, it's this little section here. The outside pieces here, I've used this part of the template. So get creative, as I always say, and see what you can build. Now the last one we're going to do is B3, which is this one. So this is a 11 by 11 block. So this one you may want to draw out on your paper first, because what we've done is once again find that centre point. So this time it's going to be 5 by 5. 5 by 5. Find the centre. With your pencil, draw your centre point. Finding that centre is always good, marking out any design for anything. Okay, sorry, that's a bit faint. Okay, so now if I put this template back on here, I don't know whether you're going to see this or not. Possibly not. But what I've done is put that template on there. But then I just realised the first thing I did was the leaves. Okay, so we're going to use this leaf. This is the leaf I used. And I'm going to start drawing it from the centre point out on the diagonal. And this is the fun of all of this. Every time you do this, you'll come up with a different pattern. So I'm going to flip the template over, stand it up a little bit. And you just keep working around. I want to flip it over, coming back. So you can see here that I've got a different gap here to here. So I need to erase that out if I was on fabric. So what I should have done is found out what the measurement was of the first one I drew. So I would need to measure that. So let's say that's 1.5 inches. And then I should have measured out 1.5 inches here. So I could have aligned that template to finish in the same position as what this one is. So that's no good. So you can see how that all helps it work. I'm going to flip this over. Now before I draw this one, I'll place the template, then I'll look for my 1.5 inch measurement. So there it is there. And I now can draw that. So now I'll have the same distance as what I need for here. So just keep continually drawing. But we've got the 4 leaves. Then we've used that centre part, drawn that, and we just bring it down to the leaf. Then I've used this section here, this section, and drawn it in here. Then around the outside edge, I've used this part of the template. So you can see now how I can build a different looking design to a tulip and create an image like this one here. So I'm not going to draw the whole design up because I want you to get really creative, because I think we've given you enough ideas of how to position the templates, how to use them without breaking the lead, how to draw up nice designs. Remember, if you press light enough and you make a mistake, you're just going to use the eraser and erase the line off. The harder you press, the harder that's going to be to get rid of your mistake. So get yourself the pencil. It is brilliant to use. Get yourself the set of the F templates and get creative. So next lesson gets very exciting because you're going to be with me at the sewing machine, setting up your machine so I can show you my controlled quilting technique and how we're going to get quilting of all of these beautiful designs we've drawn up. So till next time, continue drawing, continue being creative, and bye for now.